All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on a job that, well, most of us think we get it, the home inspector. But what you see, that friendly person with a clipboard walking through a house, is just the surface. There's a whole hidden reality to this job, and it all starts with knocking down one big misconception.
So did you think yes? Hey, don't worry, most people do. It seems simple, right? A couple of hours at the property, they type up a quick report and boom, job done. But let me tell you, that could not be more wrong.
Just think about that number for a second. 200. Not for the week. We're talking every single day. This isn't just some small detail. This is the job. That inspection you see, that's just the tip of a gigantic iceberg made of texts and emails.
Okay, so let's really get into it. Let's deconstruct this whole thing. Because the clock doesn't just stop when the inspector's car pulls away from the curb. Nope. In a lot of ways, that's when the real heavy lifting actually starts. So, that on-site inspection, yeah, that's just part one. After that, you've got these long, sometimes hour-long phone calls with clients who are, super anxious and need everything explained. Then, you have to actually write the report, which can take hours more. And get this, it doesn't even stop there. We're talking about clients calling with follow-up questions for years to come. So that one little 3-hour job, it has a ripple effect that goes on and on.
And when you're dealing with that kind of time suck, well, it bleeds into everything. It becomes your life. So what does the real schedule of a truly successful inspector look like? I mean, what's the day-to-day, the week-to-week grind really like?
7 days a week. That's the answer. Think about it. The real estate market never sleeps. It doesn't take weekends off. And if you're a busy inspector, well, neither can you. And listen, this isn't about just, checking a few emails on a Sunday morning. We are talking about a full-blown, non-stop workday. Your phone starts buzzing at 6 a.m. and it doesn't stop until 9 p.m. at night. And yeah, that includes Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, and holidays? You can forget about those too. There's this quote that just says it all. The real estate world doesn't have holidays on its schedule. A buyer will call you on Thanksgiving Day, mid-turkey, without a second thought.
In most jobs, you can have an off day. You feel a little sick, you can kind of coast. Not here. There is absolutely no slacking. You have to bring your A game every single day, even if you're running a fever, because for the client, the stakes are just way too high. You can't afford to miss a thing. So sick days, not really a thing.
Okay, so the schedule is brutal, we get it. But that's just one part of the story. The job also comes with some very, very real physical dangers. We've talked about the time, now let's talk about what you actually have to walk into. Because it's not always some pristine, empty model home. Far from it.
I mean, we are talking about some seriously dirty work. You're walking into really gross environments sometimes. Imagine opening blinds and just getting a cloud of dust and who knows what in your face. You're dealing with pests, bed bugs, even raccoon poop in an attic. You might stumble upon asbestos. And this one's wild. Sometimes you walk into a house that's so thick with marijuana smoke, you literally get a contact buzz. Seriously, all in a day's work.
And it's not just the gross stuff. It's the stuff that can hurt you right now. You're in a dark, tight crawl space and suddenly back into a rusty nail. Or you're checking an old window and the top sash comes crashing down on your fingertips. Ouch! Or you do a courtesy flush on a toilet and surprise, it's backing up all over your shoes. And let's not forget the neighbor's pit bull deciding your inspection is the perfect time to come say hello in a not-so-friendly way.
But then, there's this. This quote says it all. Be prepared for electrocution. And that is not hyperbole. It's not an exaggeration. It's a real, fundamental warning for anyone doing this job. You're constantly messing around with live electrical panels, with old, faulty wiring. One wrong move, one tiny moment where your attention slips. It's not just a mistake. It could be the last one you ever make.
So we've got the insane hours, and we've got the very real physical dangers. But there's this whole other dimension to the job that is just as intense. The people. You're dealing with human beings during what is probably one of the most stressful, high-stakes moments of their entire lives.
Yeah, on paper, the job is home inspector. But what you actually end up being is, well, a whole lot more. You're suddenly a marriage counselor for a couple who can't agree on a fixer-upper. Or you're a grief counselor for a buyer who just found out their dream house has a fatal flaw. You're a negotiator, a mediator. You're not just looking at rafters and plumbing. You are right in the middle of managing people's money, their dreams, and some seriously intense emotions. And managing that crowd, that's a skill in itself. How are you supposed to focus on a potential foundation crack when the buyer's dad, who knows a thing or two, is following you around pointing out paint scratches?
Or when the buyer shows up with like 12 relatives for the inspection. And you've got to love this one, trying to answer, so how's the roof look when, it's buried under half a foot of snow? It's just a constant, wild juggling act.
Which brings us to our last big point here. After all of that, the hours, the risks, the playing psychologist, you'd think there'd be a ton of professional respect, right? Well, that's a fight in itself. There's this really frustrating thing that happens. Inspectors will find a major issue, let's say with the electrical system. They basically send thousands of dollars of business to an electrician, right? But then that same electrician might turn around to the homeowner and say something like, wow, I can't believe the inspector missed this other little thing over here. Completely clueless that maybe there was a giant cabinet blocking it during the inspection. They just get thrown under the bus even though they're the ones generating all this work for other trades. It's a constant battle.
And then, after all that, after all the drama and the danger and the expertise, then comes the request for a large discount on the fee.
This situation really sums it all up. It's called the second inspection discount. Here's how it works. You, the inspector, just saved a buyer from what could have been financial bankruptcy by finding a catastrophic problem with a house. You saved them from a money pit. So what do? They call you for the next house they find and ask for a discount. The incredible value you just gave them, poof, it's forgotten, and it's right back to haggling over a few bucks.
So I want to leave you with this thought. We get so hung up on the cost of a home inspection, right? But after hearing everything that actually goes into it, the time, the risk, the expertise, the emotional gymnastics, maybe we're asking the wrong question. When an inspector saves you from buying a total disaster, a money pit that would have ruined you, what is that peace of mind actually worth?